Okay, Recons video on Sunday, the 8th of December 2024. Just gone 3:28 a.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well. So it's the weekend and time for another weekend futures market recap. We'll go through 15 of the largest futures markets and show you what I'm seeing on my charts. Do hope you had a good week's trading. My trading this week, pretty good, but I'm stuck in a short gold position over the weekend. Missed my target by a couple of bucks and it's come all the way back against me, which ain't great. It's one of the disadvantages of not using a trailing stop on your trades. I just use a straight profit target and stop loss and wait for either to be hit. So we'll get to the gold chart in a few minutes time, but just to say, if you hear some rattling in the background, that is because back in the UK, visiting my mother in her nursing home, and I'm staying in this old apartment, and it is howling a gale outside. It's been super windy here. I think it's the whole west of Europe's been hit by this storm. But anyway, so if you hear some windows rattling in the background, that's what's going on. So we'll talk about the E-mini charts first, because this seasonal trade has finally played itself out. When the seasonal trade started a couple of weeks ago, I said this is the longest seasonal pattern that we look at. It actually works from about the 23rd of November all the way to the 10th of December, average dates over the years. And boy, hasn't it played out. I mean, that was the best trade to take, just go long and sit on it until now. We've just crept higher and higher, and we're above 6100 this week on the E-mini. But it does come to an end around the 10th of December, which will be Tuesday. And last weekend I said potentially we had an opportunity to trade profits, but that call was too early, and I'll show you that on the 13,500 tip bar chart. However, this week we're starting to see some weakness in the 15-minute chart, so we'll get to that in a second. Daily chart, we're in an uptrend. Background's in red on this left-hand chart, means we're in an uptrend in terms of price and volume. The bars are red, so we're in an uptrend on better sine wave. Even with all the volatility that we've got in the E-mini over the last several months here, look at every single bar here on better sine wave is showing red, which means we're in an uptrend. So even through these sell-offs, the indicator was saying we're in an uptrend and just continue holding. Remarkable, better sine wave. Significant breaks of support need to be tested for us to change trend. And we're poking above resistance here on the daily chart. So it's just showing the strength of the market. The market just keeps on pushing up. Any resistances that come in just keep on creeping a little bit higher and higher each time. The 135-minute chart, here a little bit of weakness because we've got rainbow patterns coming in on these recent highs. This on better momentum ain't great. It's just showing that we've got less and less momentum pushing up to these highs. That's less professional buying. It's all amateurs. It's low average trade size, low volume stuff pushing up, and that's why better momentum is weakening here. But the trailing stop is miles away. So we're going to have a little bit of sell-off where the professionals come back in, we trail the stop up, we continue to make new highs, but we have a little bit of weakness in the meantime. That's all I'm saying, is there might be some weakness set off this week. 45-minute chart, same thing. Here's the rainbow patterns this week pushing up and up and up, and the momentum patterns pretty negative here. When you look at the read, yeah, it's a pretty big read there compared to the sell-offs that we had here and here. So that's interesting. It's almost like a stealth profit taking here, because we're in a little bit of a range there. You wouldn't have thought prices deteriorated much, but in terms of the momentum selling, that's been pretty high. But we're above resistance since here on better sine wave. We've got intermediate time frame resistance under here. We've got the lowest time frame and the highest time frame all together going on there, and we're pushing above it. So I don't know, does that mean we have to put in a little flourish or pull back to end of trend, another one on the lowest time frame on the 45-minute chart here before we start to roll over? Wait and see. 15-minute chart, this is where things get interesting, because we've not seen blue professional bars on this for the last 3 weeks. On the sell-off that we had, big pro bars, the background's in blue and the bars are blue. That means there's super high average trade size coming in there, so that's the professionals picking up those lows at 5,880. They picked up the dip, and then they bought the explosive move out of that congestion area there. And this is the first blue professional bar that we've seen since then, and that's why the stop has trailed up. You can see there quite a lot of profit taking into those highs, and we haven't broken it yet. We've got a little pullback to end of trend on the 15-minute chart. We'll probably put in like a cyclical flourish on the intermediate time frame there, but that's important. And then finally the 13,500 tip bar chart, and here things look quite interesting. So last weekend I was looking at this saying we had big pro bars taking profits here. They were forcing it down and picking it up at these lows here, but were they taking profits here? We hadn't seen an exhaustion buy pattern there. We had some weakness, and it was a question of whether we were going to come back down through this level, break it again. No, we just kept on pushing up and up and up. But now, this week's activity, we've had exhaustion buy on the upside here, so that's pretty important. And a sell signal right after it, showing pretty keen sellers at that point taking profits up here. So that's important. We've had a background in grey showing us confirmed downtrend in terms of price and volume. We've broken back up there. So this whole no man's area is really important. On better sine wave here, we're in a downtrend. We've got the bars are in white, which is showing us the weakness happening here. So breaks of these levels, 60-90, might be important going down. 60-80, 82 down here, breaks of those levels would show that the market's weak and it's time for a little bit of a profit-taking move. But let's wait and see. Emini done. We'll go through the Euro chart, the Forex charts first. And this is the most important chart to look up, top left-hand corner, which is the highest time frame, 1500 tip bar chart, and it's looking at better pro-am. And it gives us the confirmed uptrends and downtrends with the background in grey or in red. Last week we had some strength up at these highs, but ran out of puff and we sold off. And here's all these big pro bars this week that came in, and I think this was because the Eurozone was very full of news this week. We had the collapse of the Macron government. Barnier, the Prime Minister, I think is going to step down and forced out with a vote of no confidence. The budget's in disarray in France. They're at -6% of GDP deficit spending, and the three sides of politics, the centre, the left and the right, equally control the third each of Parliament, and so they can't get anything done. And then we also had the weakness in the German auto sector, and all the auto workers are walking out in VW as case because they want to either cut plants, well they think they're cutting the plants, but they also want to cut wages, and so that is a heck of a mess. So Europe's in a mess, but the professionals were definitely active this week. So exhaustion sell, they buy the breakout here. Not sure what they're doing at this point here, but then into these highs, I'd suggest they were taking profits into just above 6. Amateur up bars here in the backgrounds in grey at the moment, and again, big pro bars happening here. So a lot of professional activity looking at the euro at the moment. In terms of cyclical patterns, we've still got to play this thing out. We're above resistance and on the highest time frame here, and we've got a support come in. So maybe we're going to test back up into this 6th level, and then it's a question of seeing what happens after that. But that's why the euro was so active this week, because there's a lot going on in terms of news and politics. British pound, we had a little bit of profit taking this week after big pro bars come in here, but we've come all the way back up to 28 big pro bars coming at the highs, but not a lot of them, and not an exhaustion buy pattern at the moment. We've weakened from there. In terms of cyclical patterns here, this is more interesting. We've played out to resistance on the highest time frame here. We've got a sign of weakness going on there. So let's see if the British pound weakens this week. Aussie dollar didn't have a nice week of it at all. We're down at 63.8, which for me is not great. That hurts. That hurts a lot traveling around with such a weak Aussie dollar. It's going to hurt next month when we're in Hawaii. Anyway, so this week's activity, big pro bars here at the highs. We sold off a couple of blue professional bars at the lows here, but it didn't catch. No exhaustion sell down here. We just had a ratty move all the way down in the Aussie dollar. And the Aussie dollar here, we've got to go find supports. We're below supports on all these time frames. Big things happen at triples, signal here, and we just weaken from there, bang, bang, bang. So that's not good in the Aussie dollar. Japanese yen had a little bit of a run last week, which was nice. We had exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, big pro bars coming on that retrace there, and bang, they set off to the highs. But big pro bars now have come in and taken profits, and we've got weakness going on here. We're under the lip. This is the lip here. So let's see if this continues down. We might get blue professional bar come in here with a stair-step trade down. We're just bouncing off a lack of sellers at this point here, but this is looking weak. Now 10 years continue to be strong. We had a strong last week. We had a bit of weakness into Rambo patterns, exhaustion, sell, bullish divergence, and then we pushed higher from there on 10 years, which is interesting. And because of the employment numbers that came out at the end of the week, I think everybody's expecting another rate cut potentially in December. So that would be why the 10 years continued to strengthen at the moment. Now gold. So here we go. This is my gold chart. And this 25 level is a stretch target. We'll see if it makes it down there. But this is this week's activity. Traded gold a couple of times this week. The first one I think was into this strength that we had here. Then when we came back to test it at this level here on the lower time frame, there was an interesting pattern on the professionals here. This was the move here. So we had exhaustion sell into a previous support level here where the big pro bars had been active. So at 55, that was super important. And then these professional bars just grab it and go. And it's on the wrong side. We need professional bars to be on the way down here. And all they were doing was they were gaming it back up from 55 to 65 and then getting short this whole move. We come back to test that level. You can see the 65 level. Super important. We tested a couple of times, bounce off it, and so on. And so that was a poor move at that point there. And so I got out and got short. And I've missed my target down here with this move and then sat through all of this junk going on at the moment. Now it is stair-stepping down. The background's in grey here on the lower time frame and on the higher time frame too. We've had an exhaustion buy pattern, got rid of a whole bunch of buyers at that point, which is good. So it is weak at the moment, but don't particularly like that close on Friday. I would have thought it would sell off a little bit more on gold into the close. So we'll have to wait and see how that opens up Sunday into Monday. Silver, let's look at silver next. So silver peaked out this week, blue professional bars, exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, signs of weakness. We've had a little bit of a bounce off some Rambo patterns. No blue professional bars taking profits. So silver's weak, which is good for me in terms of the precious metals complex. And Bitcoin had a hell of a run this week. So the 100,000 level has psychologically been broken. You can see here the little sell-off that we have. Blue professional bars come in here. Big pro bars, super important there at 95, 96. Exhaustion sell patterns. And then we set off to the test the 100,000 level. We get to 104 almost, but it's amateur up bars into that sequence there. So pushing up into those highs, that's weak. And then we come down and we have a flash crash thing down to 92s down here. But big pro bars come in over that sequence, exhaustion buy, get the move going. So we're in an uptrend, back into an uptrend after having that flash crash weakness. But we've not taken profits here at 102, testing back up. Amateur bars playing at the moment. Let's see what needs to happen, whether we need to test with the blue professional bar to come in, or we find some area of support and then we test back up. But it's not over because we haven't had blue professional bars taking profits here or here. Then crude, crude was a nice trade this week. I put that out on Twitter because we had a triple pattern go off for this move here. Nice little break. It was signs of strength on all four charts. When all four charts show us arrows in the same direction, that's good for a confirmation. We had this nice little run up from 67 up to 70, but it all fell apart after that, and we've now dropped into a downtrend. It is quadruple pattern again on arrows kind of heading down, but weakness in terms of crude at the moment. Natural gas, we had a little bit of strength in the close last week, and then I think it gapped down horribly, then kept on going down, but trying to get some support down here. Big pro bars come in here, exhaustion sell, Rambo patterns, getting wrong footed right at the bottom here, and we have a little bit of a test and we're coming back up. Background's in red there, so potentially breaking into an uptrend on natural gas. Copper, any strength has been sold off, so we had some strength here a couple of weeks ago. Big pro bars come in, sell it down, move it back up this week to 425, 426. Big pro bars, exhaustion buy, bang, we sell it down. Comes back up to test with Rambo patterns, so the amateur's leading the way. Nope, get wrong footed. It's classic Rambo under the lip trade, and we've got weakness in copper at the moment. And lastly, the ags. So corn found a little bit of support here, has rallied this week. Backgrounds in red. Big pro bars come in here, but it wasn't a lot of blue professional bars after that at all. None down at these lows, so that's interesting. Soybeans. Now soybeans I was keen on a couple of weekends ago because of this pattern. Exhaustion sell, bullish divergence, big pro bars come in here at 76, so that's a super important level, and every time we've tested into that area we've held. Last time this week, big pro bars come in here, and we're starting to break out of this channel that we've been under $1,000 on soybeans. So let's see if we break above $1,000 this week, and that breaks into a trending move on soybeans. And lastly, wheat. Wheat again, similar type thing. Blue professional bars coming at the lows down here. We had our exhaustion sells on this leg. It wasn't on this leg though. And then we tested and tested. No blue professional bars kind of come in here. We had exhaustion buy, big pro bars. I don't think it's ready yet on this move. because we've got weakness. We're under lip on there, and we've got big pro bars come in here on wheat. So wheat, I don't think, is ready for the jump above 560 or so, but let's wait and see. So there we go, race through all of those charts. Let's see this week if we get some profit taking on the E-mini as the seasonal trade runs out of steam and the 13,500 tip-bar chart finally turns around and we get a confirmed downtrend on that. So there we go, lots going on. I think it's going to be an active week this week before it gets a little bit quiet leading into Christmas. So going to make the most of it, and I hope you do too.